The flying bug for me has a lot to do with creativity. It is not necessarily just to manipulate the controls of an airplane, but it's to take an airplane and do something with it that nobody else has ever done before. And we've done that with King Air 200s and Dash 8s and King Air 90s, modified the airplanes in a lot of different kind of ways and put them out and done some very, very good things with the airplanes. I grew up on an airport in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. My dad was the owner of the airport. My dad was the first crop duster in Northeast United States. I just grew up totally immersed in aviation. I have a twin brother, Ken. As soon as we got out of high school, we got in business with my dad. We learned the maintenance side and the business side. We just learned so much in the early years just by hanging around airplanes and pilots. I wanted to do some kind of service to somebody, and so I volunteered to go fly for a missionary organization in northwestern Ontario for about a year. I had every intention of coming back and being in my dad's business, but it was just one of the things I wanted to do. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I really was desperate for a college education. So Ken and I left my dad's business and went to Eastern Mennonite College in Harrisonburg, Virginia. It took us 5 years to get through because we were always out of money. I guess by some measurements we were poor, but in my head I've never been poor a day in my life. It was just like where we were at that particular point in our life. Ken and I started a business, became K&K Aircraft during college. Flew Twin Beaches and DC-3s, spraying, and I flew a firefighter, air tank or something. A couple years after I got out of college, my brother Ken had subsequently decided to get out of the business and go into seminary to become a pastor. And then this airport became available. It just came together and we bought the airport. By 1980, we gradually began to build the fleet. We sprayed many millions of acres between gypsy moth and mosquito spraying. In 1996, we bought the Army's fleet of King Air U-21s. We bought 124 King Airs on one day, in one deal. So that kind of changed the landscape on who we were. So we changed the name from K&K Aircraft to Dynamic Aviation in 1997. We put a number of the airplanes to work and started using the King Airs for a variety of things internally, and then sold a few and gave a few away to mission organizations and things like that. It's a fairly broad company in terms of the different services that we do. Dynamic Aviation is very involved with the Department of Defense and built a number of very highly specialized airplanes to identify things that the government needed identifying. But we continue to work in the sterile insect release program, which is a Mediterranean fruit fly and a screwworm in Central America. There's quite a bit of variety to it at this point. I really enjoy being able to be creative with new kinds of innovative purposes for which an airplane can be used. My latest undertaking is the restoration of an airplane called the Lockheed Constellation Columbine II, which was a first Air Force One. As I looked at that airplane and saw the potential that it was going to be just salvaged out and cut up for scrap, I said that just wouldn't be right. President Eisenhower's chair would have been where this chair is, although that's not the chair. The buttons here with the phone and the ready, this console is original. So those are the exact buttons President Eisenhower would have pushed. I actually feel a sense of responsibility to restore this airplane in very nice condition and take it around and help educate young people today about America's history. I've traveled all over the world. I've done aviation deals with people all over the world. I am so grateful to God that I was given the opportunities that I was when I was young. And I cannot imagine anything that I could have done that would have been more fulfilling for me as a person than being in aviation.